Let me ask you something that sounds simple but really isn't anymore. When you walk up to airport security today, do you actually know what you're supposed to do? Do you pull your laptop out or leave it inside the bag? Are your shoes coming off or is that outdated? Is that clear plastic liquids bag still required? Or did that rule quietly disappear? If your answer is, it depends, or I'm not sure anymore, you're not behind. You're exactly where millions of travelers are right now. And if you're relying on rules you memorized 10 years ago, you're stepping straight into a system that is no longer designed to help you. There's a major shift happening across airports in the US, Canada, and the UK, and it's happening fast. Old rules and new machines are colliding, instructions are inconsistent, and the messaging is terrible. The result is chaos. And here's the uncomfortable truth. The people suffering the most in this transition are rule followers, especially older travelers who are doing exactly what they were told years ago. What once made you a good passenger is now getting you pulled aside, delayed, and treated like you did something wrong. This isn't just about losing a bottle of shampoo. For many travelers, especially seniors, it's about the physical strain of having a carefully packed bag dumped out on a metal table. It's the stress spike that comes with secondary screening when you're already rushed. It's the very real risk of missing a flight, or worse, a cruise departure, because you got caught in the middle of a system that changed without properly warning you. Today, I need to reset your understanding of airport security. We're going to talk about the new machines, the quiet policy changes, and the traps that airlines and airports don't explain clearly. This is about protecting your time, your health, and your dignity. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Mila. I've spent the last 15 years in a flight attendant uniform. I started flying just after the post 9/11 rules settled in, so I've watched airport security evolve from the ground up. I've seen every new scanner, every policy shift, and every wave of confusion. I call myself the guardian of travel because I've watched too many good people like my own parents, get flustered, embarrassed, or financially burned simply because they didn't have insider knowledge. Think of this as a calm, honest briefing from someone on the inside. The airport environment has changed, and it can feel hostile if you're unprepared. My job is to make sure you're not just getting through it, but doing so with confidence. And to do that, we need to start with the single biggest change most travelers don't fully understand yet: the machines scanning your bags. And this is where most of the confusion really begins, because the machines scanning your bags no longer behave the way they used to. For years, you learned one simple routine: laptop out, liquids out, shoes off, everything in neat little bins. That routine was built around old-style X-ray scanners that produced flat, two-dimensional images. Anything stacked or overlapping blocked the view, so you were taught to remove anything solid or opaque. That logic made sense then. It does not apply universally anymore. Airports are rapidly installing new CT scanners, the large, rounded machines that look more like medical equipment than security devices. These scanners rotate hundreds of X-ray angles around your bag and generate a three-dimensional image that agents can digitally turn, zoom, and dissect on a screen. In theory, this means you can leave laptops and liquids inside your bag, and sometimes you can. This is where travelers get trapped, because the rules now depend entirely on which machine your specific airport, or even your specific lane, is using that day. Here's the part nobody tells you clearly. While CT scanners can see through layers, they are extremely sensitive to density. They don't like tightly packed objects. They don't like stacks of heavy items pressed together. And they absolutely hate efficiency. If you pack the way responsible travelers have been taught to pack, with books stacked neatly, cables wrapped tightly, electronics grouped together to save space, you are creating what security algorithms interpret as a single dense mass. And dense masses trigger alarms. I watched this happen recently behind an older gentleman who was clearly proud of how carefully he'd packed. His carry-on was immaculate. 3 hardcover books stacked perfectly, a brick of charging cables wrapped tight, a battery pack pressed neatly alongside them. He followed every old rule. The moment his bag went through the CT scanner, the alarm sounded. His bag was pulled aside, not casually opened, but completely dismantled. Every book came out. Every cable was unwrapped. His clothes ended up scattered across the inspection table while agents swabbed items for explosives. It took 15 minutes, and by the end, he was sweating, shaken, and humiliated. He didn't do anything wrong. He just packed for the wrong decade. If you see those large CT scanners, you must change how you pack. Think airy instead of dense. Spread electronics out rather than stacking them. Lay books flat in different sections instead of creating a solid block. Uncoil cables loosely and place them in mesh or fabric pouches so the scanner can see through gaps. Use what I call the layer cake approach. A layer of clothes, a layer of electronics spread out, another layer of clothes. You are not packing to save space anymore. You are packing to avoid alarms. The next major shift feels even more unsettling for many travelers, and that's facial recognition. Increasingly, you're no longer handing your ID to a human who compares it to your face. Instead, you're stepping in front of a camera. TSA is rolling out Cat 2 units aggressively. You slide your driver's license into a slot. A camera scans your face. The system matches your live image to your ID photo and confirms your flight information in seconds. No boarding pass required. This makes many people deeply uncomfortable, and for good reason. The process feels mandatory, even when it isn't. TSA insists that images are not stored, but the experience can feel coercive because opting out isn't explained. Here's what you need to know. You absolutely have the right to refuse facial recognition and request a manual ID check, but how you do it matters. Do not freeze in front of the camera or refuse silently. That will escalate the situation. Instead, as you approach the podium, look directly at the officer standing beside the machine and calmly say, "Officer, I would like to opt out of the biometric scan. I prefer a manual ID check." Say it clearly. Do not apologize. This is your right. The officer may sigh. They may say it's faster if you just use the camera. Simply repeat, "I prefer the manual check, please." They are required to comply. It will take slightly longer, but you maintain control over your privacy instead of being pressured into something you didn't agree to. Now we need to talk about a change that affects your health directly, and this one is causing serious problems for older travelers. More and more passengers are traveling with medications that must be refrigerated: insulin, injectable arthritis medications, new weight loss, and blood sugar drugs. These are not optional medications. They are critical. To protect them, people pack gel ice packs. And that's where they collide with the liquids rule. Here's the technicality. Gel packs are allowed only if they are frozen solid when they go through security. If they are slushy, partially melted, or contain visible liquid, they violate the 3-to-1-1 liquids rule and can be confiscated. The problem is reality. By the time you drive to the airport, park, wait in line, and reach the checkpoint, many gel packs are no longer frozen solid. They're slushy, and that's enough for an agent to take them. I'll never forget a passenger in Phoenix who was traveling with several months' worth of an expensive injectable medication. Her gel packs had softened slightly. The agent followed the rule exactly and made her throw them away. She boarded a long flight, terrified that her medication was warming and degrading. Thousands of dollars and her health were put at risk over a technicality. You cannot rely on the frozen solid loophole alone. You need a medical strategy. You must carry a letter from your doctor on official letterhead stating that you are traveling with medically necessary liquid medication that requires refrigeration. When you reach the belt, do not send the cooler through silently. Flag an agent before it enters the scanner. Say clearly, "Officer, this bag contains medically necessary refrigerated medication and I have documentation." This triggers a different protocol. Medical necessity overrides liquid limits, but only if you declare it. They may still pull the bag aside and swab the containers. That's normal. Stay calm. This process protects you. And if you want an extra backup, use frozen food like peas instead of expensive gel packs. If those are confiscated, you can request ice from a flight attendant once on board. We've covered the scanners, your face, and your medications, but the traps don't stop there. The next one involves luggage technology that many travelers bought because it sounded convenient, and it's catching people completely off guard. Smart luggage. Carry-ons with built-in USB ports and internal batteries. Airlines are terrified of lithium-ion battery fires, especially in the cargo hold where they can't be accessed quickly. Federal rules are strict. Lithium batteries cannot be checked. If your carry-on is forced to be gate-checked, the battery must be removable immediately. Here's the problem. Many older smart bags have batteries sewn in or require tools to remove. That makes them illegal to fly if they can't stay in the cabin. I witnessed a woman miss boarding entirely because her smart bag couldn't be checked and there was no overhead space left. She was denied boarding on the spot. Before your next trip, open your carry-on. Find the battery. Can you remove it in under 10 seconds without tools? If not, that bag is a liability. A simple suitcase and a separate power bank is safer, cheaper, and won't strand you at the gate. And we're not done yet, because powders are next, and they're another silent trigger that causes bags to be pulled apart at security. Because powders have quietly become one of the most common reasons bags are flagged, and almost no one talks about it until it happens to them. Since 2018, security agencies have treated powder-like substances as potential threats. That includes things many health-conscious travelers carry without a second thought. Protein powder, fiber supplements like Metamucil, collagen, dry shampoo, foot powder, even spice blends meant as gifts. If a container holds more than 12 ounces, roughly the size of a soda can, it triggers mandatory secondary screening. The CT scanners struggle to identify dense powders. To the algorithm, a large opaque mass could be harmless nutrition or something far more dangerous. So when your bag gets flagged, an agent will open it, open the container, and test the powder. It's messy, slow, and deeply uncomfortable, especially when it's something you ingest. I've watched travelers freeze in panic as strangers scoop samples out of containers they rely on daily. If you must bring powdered supplements in your carry-on, never bring the original large tub. Pre-measure what you need into small, clear zip-top bags. Label them clearly. Place them together in one transparent bag near the top of your luggage so they're easy to access. You may still be pulled aside, but the process will be faster and far less invasive. And if the container is large and you don't absolutely need it during transit, put it in a checked bag and spare yourself the stress. Now we move away from TSA and into airline behavior. And this is where seniors are being caught in a trap that has real medical consequences. Airlines are under pressure to board faster and monetize everything. Basic economy passengers are the easiest targets, and gate agents are trained to move quickly, not gently. They also profile compliance. Sweet older couples, people who don't argue, people who look flustered under pressure, get singled out. I've seen it too many times. An agent announces overhead bins are full, even when they aren't, and demands roller bags be gate checked immediately. There's no time to think. People panic, hand over bags, and board. And that's where the danger lies, because too many travelers keep critical medication in those roller bags. I witnessed a couple in their 70s forced to check their carry-ons at the jet bridge. 10 minutes after takeoff, the husband experienced chest palpitations and needed nitroglycerin. His medication was in the front pocket of the bag, now locked in the cargo hold. A medical emergency unfolded in the air that never needed to happen. You must adopt a go-bag mindset. Your personal item is not a convenience. It is your lifeline. Before you ever reach the gate, everything you need to survive for at least 24 hours must be in that underseat bag. All medication, passport, wallet, phone and charger, glasses, keys. If an agent demands your roller bag, you hand it over without hesitation because your essentials never left your possession. The airlines are also shrinking underseat space quietly. Newer seat designs hide electronic boxes underneath, eating into legroom. This is intentional. It pushes people to pay for more luggage. But for you, it creates a circulation problem. If your personal item is rigid and overstuffed, it traps your legs at sharp angles for hours. That increases swelling, stiffness, and the risk of dangerous blood clots. This is why your underseat bag must be soft-sided. Nylon or canvas with flexibility. No stiff leather, no hard shells. A soft bag can be compressed into a sizer if challenged. Once on board, pull it out and place it behind your calves, freeing space to stretch your legs under the seat ahead. Your circulation will improve immediately. Now we reach the final and most misunderstood category, medical equipment. CPAP machines, portable oxygen concentrators, nebulizers. These devices are essential, expensive, and fragile. Too many travelers try to squeeze them into carry-ons or are bullied into checking them. Here is the rule you must memorize. Prescribed medical devices do not count against your baggage allowance. You are legally allowed a carry-on, a personal item, and your medical device in its own case. The problem is poor training. Some gate agents don't know this rule or pretend not to. You need to be prepared. Put a bright tag on the medical device case that clearly says medical equipment. When you reach security, remove the device from its case and place it in a bin by itself. Before placing it down, put it inside a large, clear plastic bag to keep it clean. TSA will usually swab the outside of the bag rather than handling the device directly. If a gate agent challenges you for having 3 items, stay calm and firm. Say, "This is a prescribed medical device and is exempt from baggage limits under federal regulations." Say it with confidence. If they push back, ask for a supervisor. Do not check a medical device, ever. I know this has been a lot. The rules are changing fast, and the airport experience can feel hostile and overwhelming. but I don't want you to walk away discouraged. I want you empowered. The era of casually showing up with a vaguely packed bag is over, especially for travelers in your stage of life. Preparedness is no longer optional, it is protection. Before your next trip, do a dry run at home. Pack your bag using the new AIRY method. Check your batteries, audit your powders, separate your medications, practice removing your CPAP, do it calmly, without pressure, so the airport doesn't get to rush you into mistakes. When you walk into that terminal prepared, the chaos loses its power. You become the calmest person in the building because you understand the new rules of the game. Travel smart, travel prepared, and don't let a broken system steal your confidence or your health. I'm your guardian in the skies. I'll see you on board.